Hi, I'm Louise, and this is Escapee. Humans aren't designed to live comfortably or happily whilst imprisoned. Prisoners spend their free time dreaming of getting out. They work hard on their parole hearings and spend plenty of time dreaming of escape plans. Sometimes the dream of escape becomes reality. When I was first making notes and researching today's escapee, I was convinced this case had been completely whitewashed. I fell into the old trap of once a murderer, always a murderer, once a thief, always a thief. It's a mindset where we've been lulled into believing that many offenders and ex-offenders are dangerous, when in fact it was just a segment of their lives, perhaps even decades ago. So I dug deeper. Today I'm talking about John Massey. John Massey is a serial escapee, having absconded from the judicial system in the UK 5 times. Most of Massey's breakouts weren't from high security areas or even from the prisons themselves. He's also one of the UK's longest serving prisoners, having served over twice as long as other inmates convicted of the same offences. In his years in the English prison system, Massey has seen the inside of nearly every prison in England, including Belmarsh and Parkhurst. I don't know a lot about UK prisons, though I'm guessing these are a pretty big deal. John Massey is 180 centimetres, or 5 feet 11 inches tall, with blue-grey eyes and dark brown hair that has turned grey with age. He was born in 1948 in Kentish Town, in a working-class district of northern London, to Jack and May Massey. He is one of 6 children: sisters Jackie, Sue, Carol and Jane, and a brother Terry. When he was a child, his father Jack was imprisoned for stealing lead from roofs. Massey was placed into care due to his mother's inability to cope with raising 6 children on her own. Massey's early criminal record began in childhood with theft and behavioural issues that led to his placement in Borstal, a juvenile facility, for stealing offences. His early pattern of escape started when at 17 he escaped from Borstal. In 1975, Massey pled guilty and was convicted of shooting and killing doorman Charlie Higgins with a sawn-off shotgun outside the Cricketers Arms Hotel in Clapton, Hackney, East London, and was handed a life sentence with a 20-year tariff. In the UK, a tariff is the length of time served before being able to apply for parole. In the harsh prison conditions of the 1970s and the 1980s, he was not regarded as a model prisoner. His early imprisonment was marked by involvement in violent incidents, including retaliatory fights against assaults by staff and other inmates, where he used improvised weapons such as a table leg for self-defense. Though in later decades, once the prison system moved from the brutality of the 70s and 80s to the Reformation model begun in the 90s, Massey seems to have settled down along with it. He first escaped prison in 1994. Seriously, he was convicted in 1975, which made him eligible for parole in 1995. And he escaped a year or even months away from being eligible for parole. Seriously, what was he thinking? His early behaviour led him to being told that his parole hearing would be denied. And rather than waiting and following the process, he escaped while on a escorted home visit from prison to visit his father, who was recovering from a stroke. He escaped by slipping out a toilet window at a pub in Kentish Town, North London. The English is so attached to pubs. What was he doing in a pub? Honestly. After climbing out the window, he made his way to Spain. Okay. In Spain, Massey lived as a free man for nearly 2 years. And quoting Massey about his time of freedom, all the family came over regularly. One Christmas, we had nieces, nephews, grandnieces. It was wonderful. My girlfriend at the time gave birth to a son, whom we lost to cot death. We began drinking heavily. I went a little bit crazy. We both did. End quote. One day, while they were in a bar in Fuengirola, he got into a bar fight and was convicted of grievous bodily harm. It didn't take the Spanish authorities long to discover that he was on the run. The British wanted him back, but the Spanish refused to deport him back to a life sentence, which pretty much he'd already served. After a year of legal wrangling, he was returned to the UK prison system. After several years, he was eventually downgraded to an open prison in Derbyshire and finally released on parole in June 2007 in order to live in a bail hostel in Streatham, South London. He broke the hostel curfew a few months later by going to live with his dying father, and he was uncontactable for 4 days. After his father's death, he waited at the Grafton Arms having a pint, knowing that he would be arrested. Another 2.5 years in prison, he was sent to Ford Open Jail in West Sussex. In late 2011 or early 2012, he walked away to visit a family member who had a terminal illness. He was arrested 10 months later and taken to Pentonville Prison. His only true prison escape was in 2012 from Pentonville Prison. After being denied compassionate leave to say goodbye to his dying mother, he spent weeks chipping away at a skylight in the prison gym. Using the skylight to access the roof, he climbed the Victorian prison wall using a makeshift rope fashioned from bed sheets and a hook improvised from gym equipment netting. He was at large for 2 days and was apprehended in Faversham, Kent, prompting an immediate transfer to maximum security Belmarsh Prison and triggering a security audit at Pentonville amid public criticism of containment failures for repeated escapees. Collectively, the 4 escapes starting in 1994 added over 2 decades to Massey's original sentence. So he was originally sentenced 20 years and ended up serving 40. When Massey was finally released in 2018, his solicitor John Turner stated that Massey's escape attempts had been tied up with a sense of loyalty towards his family who had stood by him. Nothing in my searching showed that he committed any other crimes when he walked away from prison on 4 separate occasions, aside from the bar fight in Spain, and certainly nothing like the serious crime that he was originally convicted of. What are your thoughts on this one? Are there any Brits out there who can share further details about this serial escapee? I mean, was he a career criminal? Or was his time served only for the one despicable act and his habitual escapes? If you enjoyed this one, please do all the clicks, bells, bing, all those lovely things that content creators ask for. Have a good one. I'll see you next time. Thank you.